Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurame Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Ganganapate Namaha Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Om Namah Shivaya Om Namo Narayanaya Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 19th of February 2025. I want to welcome everyone to Morning Satsang. We're continuing our exposition of the Upanishads, particularly the Mandukya Upanishad. And in that, we're examining the mysteries of consciousness. Hold on one second. Yes. So when we are examining the Chaitanyam, the Chaitanya is the actual Brahma Tattva, Atma Tattva. That is spiritual Tattva. There's the physical reality that is in our perception. Then there's this massive psychological reality. It's even much more complex and intricate than the physical reality. Physical reality is still gross and it's quantitative and we can measure it and things like that. The subtle body, the Sukshma Sharir, is very, very intricate. It is very difficult to get any grasp on that. The prime example of that would be dreams. At nighttime, we have all kinds of unusual dreams. So many things pop up from the content of the mind. The brain combines things together. It's like a jungle, the Swapna Avastha. And to transgress that, to come out of that jungle, is necessary to reach the Brahman. Most of humanity is trapped inside the prison of Swapna Avastha. As I mentioned before, we've talked about that a little bit before. To clean up the Swapna Avastha and to get it completely stabilized so that Bhagavan comes there and that there's great silence, there's awareness, there's not the chaos of the stuff popping up from God knows where and it's just, confabulation. This is very difficult. This is it's unknown to most of psychology even what that might be. It is only in the yogic sciences that any progress on this has ever happened. Even in the field of psychology, neurology, neuroscience, there is the basic theory that, dreams are just going to be there. You have to dream, otherwise you'll go mad. That's true, because most of humanity is already trapped inside the chaos they have created. That's why the brain keeps dreaming and dreaming and dreaming, because it is trying to catch up with all the chaos that it has already created. And it gets stuck. So the only thing that we have to work with is the waking state, Jagrat Avastha. That's all. We don't have anything else. We have only Jagrat Avastha to make the changes that need to be made. And absolutely nothing else. So in the Jagrat Avastha, what can we do? What can we do? We can try to bring an enhanced bond, a communion, as it is said in Christianity, with God. This is called Sambandha. It is called the Sambandha through Bhakti. There is a bond that can be established. Even that's not easy to do. That takes time. And it's to establish a bond where there is actual development of the mind, development of the inner world, without going into reactions. That's difficult also, even in bhakti. Because in bhakti, what can happen, as Gunatitanand Swami mentioned, in bhakti, your ichhas, vasanas can increase in bhakti. Now, that might sound strange. How can that be? Because we're activating emotions. We might get into a very emotional activation state in bhakti. A lot of prem and bhav and all these things happen. These are emotional activations. Yes, that's good. The emotion can jump, even into touch, even a divine emotion, no doubt. But it will fall back from there. It doesn't remain. Emotion it's a neuropsychological phenomenon. It will be activated for some time. It will jump back down. Just activating emotion is not enough by itself. There's many people who have activated lots of emotions in bhakti, and they fall back down to point zero again. Almost all of them. Why is that? Does that mean bhakti is wrong or something? No, of course not. It means that the bhakti is unprotected. It is not a bhakti that is enjoined with real vairagya and jnana and dharma. Dharma, jnana, and vairagya have to be present to protect the development of bhakti and the maintenance of unbroken bhakti. Otherwise, bhakti will just be like a wave. It will the emotion will come up for some time, even for hours at a time, sometimes for days at a time, sometimes for months at a time. People are involved in some spiritual program or whatever, and they feel like, they're just so deep into it and all that thing. And after all that stops, they come right back down to point zero again. Almost everybody. Nearly everybody. Why is that? You'll see. Because there's a deficiency in Jnana and Vairagya and Dharma. There's always a deficiency in one of these four: Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, or Bhakti. Even the slightest deficiency in any of them will bring a person down to point zero. That is the difficulty in the spiritual path. Spiritual path is extremely rare for it to open. It's extremely rare because we have so much deficiency inside with these four. Even the slightest deficiency in Vairagya will spin the whole mind back down into the causal body and destroy all the sadhana done, even for years. Even the slightest deficiency. This is a fact. You'll not hear this thing, from most gurus even. Because they know this, even those who are very enlightened, they don't want to discourage people. That's why. That's the reason. But that's the fact. That's the actual reality is that. Even if I'll give you give us a couple of examples of what we're talking about. Let's say you take this mala, Bhagwan ki jo mala hai, right? We do mantra jap. Yes, we do mantra jap. Let's say Namah Shivaya mantra is chanted, every day for, let's say, 3 hours. Very good. Good progress. Everything is going well. And then let's say that goes on for 1 week. And then let's say after 1 week, a person who is doing that sadhana, gets attracted towards one of the panch vishayas, some sexual attraction or some kind of attraction towards money or some worldly attraction. Even if the slightest attraction happens, that destroys that entire 1 week of sadhana. Think about this. Totally destroy kar deta hai wo. See, this is why people don't realize the Atma. That saintliness is the base. 100% saintliness, not 99%. That's why nobody realizes anything. People are stuck inside the Swapna Avastha, Jagrat Avastha, inside this worldly experience. The saintliness is so rare. To not find fault with somebody, to find fault with one person will destroy years of sadhana. It is like putting a match into the whole, barrel of gasoline. It will blow it up. It's like that. This is the fact. This thing which Sachin is describing, which I don't usually talk about this way, is written in Vedaras by Bhagwan Swaminarayan. He has mentioned strict statements like this. And it's a matter, he says, you may have done years of sadhana. So much. You've taken malas and taken dikshas and done this and all kinds of things. And you come back into the sansar and get stuck somewhere inside the sansar, everything gets destroyed. Totally. It gets obliterated, literally. This is the danger in spiritual. People do a lot of sadhana. It's not like people are not doing. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people doing mantras, doing scriptural readings. Progress is zero. Kuch nahi milta isme se. They wind up spinning back and forth again into the chaos and madness of their own life. Why? How to get out of that? It is 100% adoption of 100% spirituality and asking Bhagavan to remove all the deficiency. If you do that with a real sacha bhav, that, hey Prabhu, mere mein koi, I have no capacity to get rid of all this thing. I want to get rid of it. I want to move ahead. I want to please you. Whatever deficiencies there, please, the true repentance. This is the Christian concept. Repentance. It's called, हमारी संस्कृति में इसको पश्चाताप कहते हैं. It's called repentance, atonement. And to ask God to bless and to overlook and to forgive all the transgression, all the deficiency. And if the bhav is real, and if that bhav remains, that and the ichha is there to get rid of all this thing, even if it comes up, but the desire is there to remove all this, one is not enhancing that or running after that through the ego. Bhagwan Swayam कहते हैं, मम माया दुरत्या माम एवै प्रपद्यन्ते माया मेताम तरन्ते. तू मेरे पास आ जा. Bhagwan Krishna कहते हैं, I'll take care of everything. That is the only solution. No sadhana takes us to God. No sadhana can take us to God. This is upasana and bhakti. There are also hundreds and thousands of examples throughout the world of people who have done horrific things in life. They're filled with vasanas, filled with all kinds of deficiencies that we cannot even talk about. And they are liberated like that. Why is that? Because at some point they completely turned their antakaran over to Paramatma and said, I am yours. Thy will be done. I'm as I am, whatever I am 100% yours. That's it. That's mukti. Otherwise, you go and keep going in this massive chakkar. You cannot come out of Maya by our efforts. It's never going to happen. No effort, no amount of deliberate action, even though that is necessary, but it is performed with ahankar. It's performed with, I am performing sadhana. Sadhana nu bad in Gujarati. In our Swaminarayan Satsang, I've heard many saints talk about this before. बहुत amazing बात है. जिसको समझता है, they can realize God. God realization is not far away. Sadhana is done, but it is not done that I am doing sadhana. No, not that I am doing. There's no I behind the sadhana. When there is the I behind the sadhana, the whole thing is a failure. When sadhana is done, it is done out of love, affection, only in terms of asking the Lord to remove the Maya. It's like an ant trying to push an elephant. The ant cannot push an elephant. Even 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter, the ant cannot push an elephant. It's like that. Bhagwan keval dekhte. Bhagwan is Paramatma antaryami hai. Inside the Atma Tattva. वो देखते हैं कि साधक भक्त है, what the sadhak wants. He wants out of Maya, 100%. You want only out of Maya, you remove the Maya right away. If you want, most people say, it's good to have God realization. It's good to get out of Maya. I would like to do that, as if you're going for some shopping for some bagels in coffee or something. Kitni nonsense baat hai sab. You think God realization can be bought like that? Some people think they can give big donations to all these religious organizations and they have their secure your place in heaven. Secure your place in some dham somewhere. Nonsense baat hai sab kuch. It doesn't, you cannot buy God realization. Some people really believe that. Itna donation diya. Some people do that because they have committed so many terrible things. Now they go to some religious organization, give massive amount of donation. Usme se kya hota hai? Punya hota hai. Mukti nahi milti. They have to remove their ahankar completely. And that is the danger in all of this thing. Bhagwan ka jo sakshat kare, it is not the result of sadhana. It is not the result of our ridiculous egocentric activities. No way. It would never happen. It only happens, Atma or Paramatma ka sakshatkar kab hota hai? When the bhakta, the sadhak, or the mumukshu 100% turns the antakarana over to the Lord. Not 99%, 100% turning over. And in that turning over, that is called sharanagati. That is called absolute surrender. And in that surrender, even taking the name of the Lord one time, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, ek baar ye mantra bol, Namah Shivaya mantra, is enough. It's not a question of chanting thousands and thousands of times. You can. That's fine. I mean, do all that. But it's not a question of quantity. It's a question of the quality of the antakarana and its relinquishment at the feet of God. That is what Jesus wants from his devotee. If you look at in the New Testament, there are amazing prasanga New Testament mein. You know, there's an incident where a lady, I don't remember the exact story now, but she has got this intense bhavana. Maybe she has done so many terrible things. Whatever she has done, she's done. But her tears fall on the feet of Jesus. And he says, you are liberated. You are mine. That's it. End of story. Mukti ho gayi. It's not a question of sadhana. There is no sadhana. Kya sadhana karenge? There is this intensity of sharanagati that I am 100% yours. And in that bhavana, Bhagwan ki bahut krupa hoti hai isme. And then the antakarana is brimming so that one can beautifully remain in a liberated state. Mukti is not something far away. It is only a question of absolute surrender at the feet of God. Look at the Bhagavad Gita. I'll just take a minute. I've gone a little over time. Just one more minute, then we'll stop. Look at the Gita, 700 verses. What is he saying, telling Arjuna? He says, you leave all of your ahankar aside. You come to me. You recognize who I am. He showed him Vishwarup Darshan. Bahut kuch bataya usko, bahut kuch gyan diya. But you come to me. Doesn't matter how much you think you're very gnani and all that thing. And Arjun gives lots of his arguments, you know, in chapter 1 and up to verse 10 in chapter 2. But Bhagwan kehte, no, you're speaking as if you're very wise. You're not. You don't have any understanding. You're lamenting over things that don't need to be lamented. Aapko atmagnan nahi, aapko kuch gyan hi nahi hai isme. You have to come to me. And then at the end in chapter 18, Bhagwan Krishna Arjun says to Krishna, Bhagwan, Nashto moha smritir labdva tvat prasadan maya chuta. Gatosmi, what is that verse? That my moha is gone. Karishya vachanam tava. I will do what you are asking me to do. Karishya vachanam tava. Bhagwan Krishna doesn't force him. He says, this is what I've given you. This is my perspective. You do what you want. You want to follow this thing and you are my devotee, then you follow this. And if you don't want to, then you do what you want. He doesn't force anybody. And that's the big teaching for the whole of humanity. Paramatma jab yahan aate hai, Bhagwan or Bhagwan ke jo sant yahan aate, they're not forcing anybody to do anything. They're showing what is the pathway to mukta, to mukta sthiti. And the main 100% pathway is total sharanagati. 100% at the refuge. And in fact, Arjuna eventually, he has that bhav. That I am your shishya. I'm taking refuge in you because I'm confused. I don't know. This is the whole point in the Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And then in chapter 2, he just completely, is surrenders to him. So that total surrender, Ramakrishna Paramahans ji kehte hai, the path of thou. Take that path. That's the best. That's direct. It's very quick. The path of just aham brahmasmi, Vedanta, Advait Vedanta. That is also there. But that requires total vairagya. It requires total saintliness, total jnana, bahut antakaran ki sthiti, aur isme it also requires bhakti. as a purifier. That is a much more difficult path. This one of 100% surrender, we can do that. But it means that I am yours and only yours. That is why we have Shri Radhika Ji with Sri Krishna. Why we have Radhika Ji? What is the reason for the Murti of Shri Radharani? This is the whole reason why. By simply asking her for bhakti. The bhakti Radhika Ji has for Sri Krishna is called wo Haladini Shakti hai, Bhagwan Krishna ki. And she's the only one who can open that door. So when we have Shri Radha at her feet, simply how to do this, take a flower. What is the sadhana for today? Take one flower, place it at her feet and say, you are everything. You are bhakti incarnate. You are nothing but bhakti. Just bless so that this jivatma can turn over to the Lord. Itni hi prarthna hai, aur kuch nahi hai isme. You do that with the 100% antakarana, not 99%. Take one flower, place it at the feet of Shri Radha. Take another flower, place it at the feet of Sri Krishna. You're liberated. 2-flower liberation. Koi shastro ki jarur nahi, koi mantro ki jarur nahi. Nothing is required except 2 flowers. And 100% turn of the antakarana. Once it is turned, then automatically Pura Brahma Vidya, everything will just start flooding. Then whatever activity we are doing, it is done in the surrendered state. That's very different. Kitni sundar baat hai. Just like a small child who is 5 years old, is totally dependent on his mother, his or her mother and father. Totally surrendered. And so the parents, they take 100% care. This is spirituality. When our ahankar vanishes and we go back into that beautiful childlike simplicity at the feet of Paramatma, guaranteed Bhagwan, he will take care of everything. But not to remove that bhav, not to reactivate the ahankar, then that's it. That is living liberation. Bahut seedhi baat hai. 2 flowers, that's all. 2-flower realization. Let's stop with that today. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Sabhaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarichu Sarvada Om Ganganapate Namaha Dibalingaya Nama Urdhvalingaya Nama Anandalingaya Nama Dwadash Jyotirlingaya Namo Namaha Om Aim Brim Klim Chamundaye Viche Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha Rim